Sometime around February, the knitting world got quiet, not slow. The queues were full, but everything trending was heavy, weighted, meant to stay inside with you. Chunky sweaters, hooded everything, patterns that felt like closing a door. May looks different. The Ravelry Top 20 this month is almost entirely wearable outside. Lightweight, easy fit, tops and dresses, and that one vest I cannot stop thinking about. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I think your nervous system has been doing the math, and apparently the answer is almost ready. The question is whether your brain got the memo. Hi, I'm Arletta. Welcome to Ignite Your Inner Artist. This month we're talking about visibility tolerance, the gap between feeling ready to be seen and actually letting yourself be seen. Your queue has been tracking your progress. Let's find out where you are. There's nothing wrong with not yet. Not yet is not the same as never. Not yet is not avoidance. It's pacing, and your nervous system is allowed to pace. Patterns in this first section are for the knitter who is almost ready to come back to the world, but need one more layer between themselves and it. These are your transition pieces, lightweight enough for spring, familiar enough to feel safe, easy enough that your brain doesn't have to fight your hand. They are not consolation prizes. They are exactly what a regulated nervous system looks like when it's being honest about where it is. Let's look at what the group is asking for. The Sabai has been on the Ravelry Top 20 for 6 of the last 12 months. That's not a trend, that's a perennial, and it earns it. Simple, sleeveless construction, classic fit, the kind of pattern that holds your hand without being condescending about it. If you're making your first wearable top, this is the one that won't punish you for trying. 6 sizes means most people can find their fit without doing origami math. Great layering piece, which is exactly the energy of this section. One more layer between you and the world. 8 of the last 12 months, free, beginner friendly. If this sweater were a person, it would be that friend who always picks up the phone. The step-by-step has been holding hands with new knitters since August 2025, and it is not tired of it yet. Air and weight means it works up faster than most of what's on this list, which matters when your brain needs to see progress. This is your, I just need to make something and feel competent cast on. No shame in that. Competence is actually the point. Tolsta tea trends every single spring and summer, every year, like clockwork. 10 sizes, that's not an accident. That's a designer who did the work. This is the tea you make when you're ready to wear something you knit in public, but you want it to look like you meant to do that. Clean lines, nothing fussy, the kind of finished object that gets, wait, you made that at the farmer's market, which for the record counts as being seen. Baby steps. I'm actually on the needles with something that lives in this exact energy right now. The Ivy pullover. Different pattern, same nervous system vibe. Light and green, lots of positive ease. Not asking you to be precise about anything, just asking you to keep going. That's what Marielle does. Some patterns are kind. On a bad brain day, kind matters more than clever. Cast on the kind one. This one just showed up on the top 20 for the first time, which is interesting because a pattern has been out since December 2024. Sometimes things find their moment. Garter stitch, raglan construction, worked flat. The box pleat detail sounds fancier than it is. It's a fold. You can do a fold. What you get is a jacket that looks intentional and structured without requiring you to be either of those things while you're making it. Good, I'm going somewhere, but I might need an exit strategy outerwear. Spicy flag, box pleat. It's a folded section of fabric secured at the top. Creates that structured pleat look without any additional techniques. If you can knit a rectangle and fold it, you can do this. Stash Lounge released this one for local yarn store day, which I love. It's a community gesture dressed up as a hat pattern, stranded colorwork, worsted weight, free, and it's the kind of small project that gives your hands something to do when your brain needs a win, but your capacity is low. Hats are underrated as mental health tools. Couple hours of rhythm, a finished object, and you don't have to commit to a sweater. Sometimes that's the whole plan. Spicy flag, stranded colorwork. Worsted weight makes this more forgiving than it sounds. If you've been curious about colorwork but not ready for a full sweater commitment, a hat is exactly where to start. These are your stay close knit, and I want to be clear about something. Staying close is a valid strategy. It is not failure. It is not settling. It is your nervous system telling you what it needs and you listening. But here's what I noticed putting this section together. Every single one of these patterns is something you could wear outside. You just haven't decided to yet. That's what the next section is about. But here's the thing about all these soft, easy, beginner-friendly layers. At some point, you have to put them on and walk out the door. That's not a criticism. That's an invitation. And section 2 is for the knitter who is starting to feel it. That small, inconvenient flicker of maybe. Welcome to almost. Let's talk about visibility tolerance for a second. It's a real concept in trauma-informed work. The idea that being seen, actually seen, not just present in a room, requires a nervous system that feels safe enough to allow it. And that tolerance isn't a switch you flip. It's a dial you turn, slowly, in your own time. What I find genuinely interesting about Maed's top 20 is that the patterns in this section aren't hiding anymore. They have details, eyelets, neckline interest, a dress. These are pieces that say, I thought about how this would look on my body, and I made it anyway. That is not a small thing. That is the dial moving. If you've got something in your queue that you've been almost casting on for 3 months, this section is your sign. Brand new pattern, straight into the top 20. That kind of debut means the knitting community saw it and immediately said yes to that. And I understand why. 6 sizes for the yoke, plus 12 circumference options for the bottom. That is a designer who understands that bodies are not standard issue. The eyelet detailing is decorative, not structural, which means it reads as intentional without asking much of you technically. This is a I want to look like I tried tank without actually requiring you to suffer for it. The name alone deserves credit. 9 sizes, fingering weight, cap sleeves with eyelet detail. This is summer knitting that looks like you planned it in advance. The eyelets on the sleeves are the kind of detail that reads as, I know what I'm doing, from across the room, which is exactly the energy of this section. Almost ready. Starting to care how it looks. Fingering weight means it's a commitment in yardage, but the drape you get is worth it for a garment you're actually going to wear in public. 11 of the last 12 months. 11. The ranunculus is not trending. It has transcended trending. It is simply always there, like a reliable friend who never makes it weird. And the reason it keeps showing up is the same reason it works. It fits almost everyone. It's infinitely modifiable, and the community around it is enormous. Creator Emda III just did a great blog on her ranunculus modifications, link in description. If you're on the fence, watching someone else's process is sometimes a permission slip you needed. Spicy flag. Provisional cast on. It sounds like a hostage situation, but it's just a temporary cast on you remove later to work in the other direction. Great video tutorials available. Don't let it be the reason you don't cast on. 11 sizes. Short and long sleeve options. Bundle and save with other wool and pine patterns. The Cloudbreak is doing everything right from an accessibility standpoint. And the lace detailing is exactly light enough to feel special without tipping into fussy. Beginner friendly, which in this section means you don't have to be an advanced knitter to make something you're proud to be seen in. That's the whole point of almost. You're reaching out, not performing. 9 sizes, including up to 4X. That's the kind of size range that says the designer actually wanted everyone to be able to make this. The lace neckline is the detail that does the work here. It frames the face without being precious about it. Beginner friendly, works for summer or layered in cooler months, which in the Pacific Northwest means it's basically a year-round piece. If you live somewhere where summer is a loose concept rather than a guarantee, this pattern understands you. 13 sizes, I-cord neckline, V-neck modifiable sleeve, link in description. 13 sizes is not a typo. That is a designer who sat down and did the math for a lot of bodies, which in the context of the whole section, making something worthy of being seen in means something. You deserve a pattern that was designed with you in mind. The cable columns on the Skagen can be worked without a cable needle, which is the detail that bumps this from battle mode into almost territory. It looks more complex than it is, which is honestly a great quality in a garment you're going to wear outside. Cable detail reads as, I have my life together, from a distance. You can let people believe that. The Skagen will keep your secret. Spicy flag. Cables without a cable needle. Drop cable method. Let stitches hang, reorder, pick back up. Takes about 10 minutes to get comfortable with it. Worth it. The only shawl on this month's list, and it earns its spot. The textured lacework creates the illusion of cable, so you get the visual complexity of a cable project with lace construction, which is a neat trick. One size worked flat means the construction decisions are already made for you. A shawl in this section isn't hiding. It's framing. It's the piece of you to throw on when you're not quite ready for a full outfit statement, but you want something to hold on to, literally and otherwise. These are your threshold pieces, made to be worn somewhere, made to be noticed a little, made by someone who is starting to believe quietly and without making a big deal of it, that they are worth the effort. If that's not where you are yet, section 1 is still right there. No judgment. But if something in the section made you open a Ravelry tab, that's the dial moving. Section 3 is for the knitter who's done waiting. Okay, Section 3 is not the consolation prize. I need to say that clearly because it can read that way, and it is not. Section 3 is not. These are for people who couldn't handle sections 1 and 2. Section 3 is for the knitter who looked at everything we just covered and thought, I know exactly what I want to make, and I am ready to make it and don't need anyone's permission. That is not beginner energy. That is not timid energy. That is a nervous system that has done its work and knows what it. These are the show-up knits, the ones that say yes out loud. The villager vest is the pattern that made me want to build this whole video around visibility, because look at it. Tunic length, which in a market absolutely saturated with cropped everything, is a quiet act of rebellion. Optional hip and waist shaping, so you decide how it fits your body, not the other way around. And that lace-up front detail is not decorative. It's a statement. It says, I made this. I know exactly what I'm doing, and I'm wearing it outside. Beginner friendly, which at this point in the video means you have no excuses. 9 sizes. Go. The new top is actively expanding. The designer is adding 2XS and 2XL sizes soon, which means if your size isn't there yet, it's coming. Bottom-up construction is a nice change of pace from the top down everything else on this list. Beginner friendly, 2 months trending, and there is something about a sleeveless top worked from the bottom up that just feels deliberate. You know where you're going. You built the foundation first. There's a metaphor there, if you want it. A dress on the top 20 in May. Your nervous system is not subtle. The Camille dress has a reversible V-neck, negative ease up to 3.9 inches, and a detailed YouTube tutorial from the designer. Link in description. A designer who makes tutorial content for their own pattern is a designer who wants you to succeed. Light fingering weight means this is a commitment, but what you get is something you can wear to every summer occasion you've been almost ready to attend. 10 sizes, gorgeous, cast on with intent. Free, worsted weight, modular construction, knit in 3 pieces and seamed. The fishnet topper is the wild card of this section, and I mean that as a compliment. It doesn't look like anything else on this list. It's open, structural, layered over everything, and free, which means the only thing stopping you is deciding you want it. Modular construction is actually more forgiving than seamless because you work each piece separately and assemble at the end. Good for the knitter who likes a clear finish line on each stage. Socks are on the yes list, and I will tell you why. Colorwork socks are not a beginner project. They are a declaration. You're saying, I have enough skill to do this. I have enough patience to do this. And I care enough about my feet to do that. The hellebore has beautiful stranded colorwork, cuffed down construction, and 3 sizes that cover a solid range. If you've been sock curious but intimidated, this is a good on-ramp. If you're already a sock knitter, you already know. Add to queue. Spicy flag. Stranded colorwork on small circumference. Managing 2 colors on DPNs or magic loop takes practice, but the rhythm clicks fast. Watch first. 5 out of 5 difficulty rating. Double knit construction. Petite knit, who also gave us the Sophie hood and the clown sweater, Two patterns your hands probably already know. The Petra Polo is for the knitter in section 3 who looked at everything else and thought, I want a challenge. I am ready for a challenge. I have earned a challenge. The Petra Polo is waiting to see if you meant it. Spicy flag, double knitting. You work 2 layers of fabric simultaneously, alternating stitches between layers. Fully reversible result, no wrong side. Requires focus, patience, and a certain personality type. You know who you are. These are your show-up knits. And I want to close this section the same way I opened this video, by being honest with you. Not everyone watching this is in the yes section right now. Some of you are firmly in not yet. And that is exactly where you should be. Some of you are hovering in almost, and that is enough. The dial doesn't have to move all the way today. But here's what I want you to take from May's top 20. Your queue has been building towards something. All those lightweight tops, all that positive ease, all those patterns designed to fit your actual body. That's not random. That's you. Making decisions about what you're worth. Value isn't just what you bring to other people. It's what you make for yourself. And then wear outside. One more before we go. This one didn't make the main list, but it caught my eye. The Islands Banca Lopez. I have no idea how to pronounce that. I tried. I looked it up. It didn't work. It cracked the Ravelry top 20 this month, and it is genuinely beautiful. Traditional Icelandic construction, free pattern, top 20 debut. Here's the caveat. It's only available in Icelandic. One size, no projects yet on Ravelry. So if you want to make this, you're going to need Google Translate and a spirit of adventure. I respect that. Not for everyone, but that's you. But if that's you, the link is in the description, and Godspeed. So, team not yet or team yes? Drop it below. No wrong answers. I genuinely want to know where your nervous system is right now. I read every single one. Here's what I want you to take away from this video. Visibility is not something that happens to you. It's something you build, one cast on at a time, one finished object at a time. One time wearing the thing you made in public instead of leaving it folded in a drawer. That is what value looks like in practice. Cora, no barking. That is what value looks like in practice. Not a grand gesture, just showing up in the thing you made on purpose. If you're totally stuck and none of these are sparking anything, watch this next. Somewhere. Because sometimes you need a different kind of reset before anything feels possible. I'll see you in the next one.